Hi, it's Josh, your Goth fragrance bestie. I believe perfume is a language that speaks to us, not in words and colors, but in emotions and memories. In Goth Fragrance Dialogues, we will be listening to the people who channel and craft this language for us. In this episode of Goth Fragrance Dialogues, we will be hearing from Carrie at INDIEHOUSE Modern Fragrances. Thank you for joining us today.
Sure, my pleasure.
We could get started by talking a little bit about your background and how you became interested in perfumery.
My background. So I kind of did a little bit of anything I needed to do for about 25 years to pay the bills. So I had jobs. I had a lot of little jobs that when you're working them, you're thinking to yourself, what does this have to do? Like, what am I doing? You know, like, why am I selling auto insurance? This makes no sense to me. And so I had a lot of little jobs that were teaching me things in the moment that I didn't understand how those skills were going to be used later on, and then it kind of all came together. So I started, like so many people, I was like, I'd love to be a perfumer. That sounds like fun. So I started taking classes and training, and I actually got quite good at it. I really enjoyed it. I had some great instructors. I had trained with some professionals out in Los Angeles. I took a couple classes in New York. I went to the south of France, and then I felt once I felt confident that like this is what I want to do, and I'm getting ready to get started with my own brand, and I started really working on branding and looking at that end of the business. I started reaching out to some smaller brands, and I hit a statistic when I was researching, and it was like, I think it was 2017, there were 2,600 new brands launched that year. 2,600 new brands. If you know anything about fragrances, you know that each brand has more than one fragrance. So you take 2,600 and you multiply that by 5 or 10 or 20, that's a lot of people to compete with. And some of them had a lot of money, some of them did. So I started looking at the smaller guys, like, what are you guys doing? How are you doing it? I started reaching out. And then as I got to know these smaller brands, I was like, oh, what you're doing is really cool. I want to smell that, but I'm here in Atlanta, and you're there in Los Angeles, or you're up in Portland, or you're over on the coast. And so I would have to ask them to send me samples or be buying samples. And I just felt like I was always reaching to other places to try to get inspiration and input and to build community. And it started to dawn on me, like, why isn't that here? Why don't we have that in Atlanta? And so I started asking these brands, like, look, we don't really have that here in Atlanta where we can go to a place and buy all the things. Like, what if I opened a little shop and we put your brands in this shop? And we did that here in Atlanta. And oh my gosh, they thought I'd lost my mind. They were like, what on earth are you talking about? Like, you're gonna lose all your money. Like, they are not sophisticated enough in Atlanta to understand. And I went, oh, hold on. Like, okay, wait, back up. I've lived here close to 30 years. That gives away my age a little bit. I'm originally from the Midwest, but I thought, I don't understand what you mean they're not sophisticated enough to understand it's fragrance. Like, it made no sense, but they were like, if you want to open a store, we'll let you sell us, but you're not going to make any money and you're going to be out of business before you even start. I was like, okay. So, I pitched the idea to my husband / part-time business partner, and he was like, so let me get this straight. You want to open a store and put products in it, and the people that make the products have told you they're not going to sell. And I was like, that's the business plan right there. I was like, okay, why am I married to you again? A question he asks over and over a couple times a week probably. And so I was like, all right, let's just assume that they're right and that nobody understands perfume. Then somebody needs to teach them that. And I looked back at the training I had and was like, okay, well, I feel like I'm kind of in a position to do that. I've studied it. I know how to do it myself. I know enough to get somebody else through the basics of understanding it so that they can then appreciate the art and a lot of the science behind what makes these products so unique and special and interesting. So much more worthwhile and so much more engaging and fun than what you're going to find mass produced in a major mall. Yeah. So I was like, all right, we'll do classes, and then when people develop the appreciation, assuming they don't have it, then they'll be able to shop in the niche. So I kind of started one business that's in two pieces, trying to educate people and do the workshops, and then trying to bring in the interesting niche products. And so that was where it started and kind of grew. And now I kind of bounce back and forth between both pieces of the business, which keeps me busy, but I like it that way because it helps when I'm evaluating brands, and it helps when I'm considering bringing new things in, and it helps the classroom because as brands are doing new and interesting things, we need to incorporate that into what we're teaching people and make sure that they're in our classes, people are able to keep up with what's going on in this fast-paced changing industry. So that's a long way of saying I had no experience and I figured it out.
Yeah. Who are some of your biggest inspirations in the world of perfumery?
Who are some of my biggest inspirations? I mean, I love the underdog. I love the guy that does it all himself. Like one of my favorites is Josh Meyer. I mean, he's just such a great guy. He's been doing it for a long time. He's got a solid brand. The people I admire stick to their branding. They've decided what their point of view is, and they're not walking away from it. They're not gonna drop it for the latest fad or whatever is selling or whatever is trending on TikTok. What I love about it is he has a point of view, he stays in his point of view, and he doesn't really care what is trendy and selling hot. He's going to do what is best for his brand. And he just came out with a new leather, which leather's not trending right now, but he did a really cool thing with it, and he twisted it and he turned it and he made it really interesting. And that's his voice. And I love that he stays true to that. So it's brands like that they have a point of view, and it might not be what's trendy and selling at the mall right now, but that's why we love all these little brands.
Yeah. One of my favorite phrases is that trends are for the anxious.
Yeah. Trends, I would say trends are for the insecure. So there's leaders and there's style leaders and there's style followers. So anybody that's shopping at the mall that comes in and starts name dropping things that, are big brands that are mass produced that you can find everywhere, those people are a little bit followers. They want to be recognized as someone who's in the know, kind of a thing. And then there's leaders. There's people that are looking to see what's next. There's people that are trendsetters. And that tends to be the traditional niche community, is people like yourself who are wanting to see okay, that's cute, but I've done that, what's next, what's next? And it's those people that are hungry for the what's next that are our best friends in this business. I mean, we don't have customers, we have guests and we have friends. And so when someone's new to our store, they're a guest, but then we find that pretty quickly they become friends, and they're sharing who they've found with us, and sending me emails like, oh, have you seen this brand? Have you seen this? Look at what this guy is doing. So that's what's fun about it, is we've been able to kind of build a community, and so it's a community of people that are all sharing ideas, and that's how a lot of brands end up in this store, is just through our friends telling us what they found.
Very cool. And you talked a little bit about what inspired you to start Indie House. What do you think sets Indie House apart from other fragrance stores?
What sets us apart? The education piece, for sure. I mean, we have the benefit of 2 hours with our guests where we get to tell them about the biology behind fragrances. There's a reason you smell things the way you smell things. There's a reason things sit on your skin for long periods of time or don't. There's biology behind that. And there's also chemistry behind it. What was in the bottle that you sprayed on? How big were the molecules? How many of the molecules were in the bottle? What else was in the bottle? What else was going on? So there's a lot of little pieces that go to it that once people understand that, we have in our Alpharetta store, we've got over 1,000, just hit 1,000 5-star Google reviews. And when people, and they leave a comment, and their comment is always, I learned so much and I had so much fun learning, because this is not something that you get from anywhere else. And we're blessed with the time to be able to just sit with people, answer questions. Even if they're not in a class and they come in the store, we've got time to sit and answer questions and direct people to, well, if you like this, try that. And even though you said you wanted rose, you've got to try this over here, because you think you want rose, but what I'm seeing, and a lot of it too is when we see people walk in with a certain look, they've curated their look head to toe. And what they think they want isn't always what they need. Mm-hmm. You need different fragrances for different, as different occasions. So sometimes you need to be a badass, you need to have your badass perfume. Sometimes you need to be sexy, you need to have your cute flirty perfume. There's different fragrances for different moods, and we really try to remind people of that you don't have just one pair of shoes. You have different shoes for different occasions, and you should have different perfumes for different occasions.
Very cool. How do you go about selecting the niche brands that you feature in your stores?
There's a lot of factors. One of my favorite things to do is go to Essence over in Milan every year. That's good. It's a good starting point. It lays a good groundwork for you can start to get a sense for what's going to trend that year, what the different brands are doing. what new brands are starting to, kind of pop up. I'm looking for hand feel. Like the packaging has to get my attention. It's got to be something that I feel like will speak to our customers. So I'm looking at the branding, and then I'm wanting to know what does it feel like in my hand? When I get the bottle in my hand, does this feel luxurious? Is the bottle heavy? Is it good quality? How's the top? How when you spray it, is it dribbling out of the bottle? Is it giving you a good amount? Is the amount that comes out onto your skin going to wear well? Do I need to do 2 sprays to get it to go for a few minutes, or is it 1 spray? So there's all those little tiny things that I'm kind of looking at. And then obviously you want to sit down with whoever the creator of the brand is and hear their story. So what is your story? What is your point of view? What is your, what are you trying to tell people with this line of fragrances? And then it's just kind of the, do I like it or not? Or do I see a path for my best customers to like it? If somebody's got a line of just leathers, and I've already got 3 brands in the store that are doing fantastic leathers, I kind of don't need, you can be good all day long, but I kind of don't need that. So I'm always kind of looking to balance. And then I'm looking at price points. In our shop, we want to have things that are aspirational. We want to have things that are somewhat affordable. And then we want to have things for entry-level beginners. So I'm looking for basic fragrances for people who are new. I'm looking for things that are a little more complex for the mall shopper that wants to level up. And then I'm looking for that ultra niche stuff that people that are just obsessed can still have a good experience. So it's tricky. I mean, there's a lot of different things I'm trying to keep in mind, from price to brand to all that, but it's also fun.
Very cool. And you have 2 boutique locations as well as the education spot.
We do. I write 3 rent checks every month, plus my mortgage. So one would think I had money.
I know initially there was kind of the separation between the 2, where the West Side location was more experimental and the Alpharetta location was a little safer. It seems like that line is starting to blur. Do you see that as well? Is that a conscious choice?
It is blurring a little bit. Good. I love that you're on your game, Josh. We are getting more sophisticated shoppers. We are getting that customer who they've moved past the mall and they're looking to see what's next. So I am looking at less. There are brands that we're kind of phasing out. We just had a little bit of an insider sale where we're kind of saying goodbye to some brands that are good brands. They're great products. They're good brands. There's nothing wrong with them. Our customer just already has it. We've already had that experience. Now we need to kind of move into what the next experience is, which is it's a difficult line to walk, because you don't want to only be grabbing things that are trendy. Like, trendy gets challenging. It's just like fashion. I mean, fragrance and fashion go hand in hand. You want high quality and things that people can invest in, because this is not an inexpensive product. If somebody's going to put down $250 for a bottle, I want to know that it is relevant, that it speaks to right now, but that it's not going to be out of style in the next month, 6 months, season. You want something that you can go back to in 6 months, pick up and go, oh, I forgot how much I liked this one, and continue to use it. So,
very cool. What are some of the challenges you faced when launching Indie House, especially during the pandemic?
How long do we have? Oh my. Well, that's a big question. So I could not find, again, we go back to, everybody told me I was crazy, that it would never work in this market. Not gonna work. So of course, people who have real estate were like, who are you? What do you want to do? You want to open a perfume store? Literally, perfume store? And then they had that weird look on their face. So getting anybody to take me seriously, to even lease space to me, was a challenge, and took a lot longer than I ever would have thought. Finally found the perfect space. It was meant to be downtown Alpharetta, located behind a pig restaurant next to a dumpster, just where you would expect to find a fine fragrance boutique. But I was like, I can make this work. I can make this work. So we took the lease out on it August of 2019. They then had to do some construction to the building, because it used to be a lawnmower repair shed. Fun fact, it was built in the 80s, and when they started pulling apart the walls, nothing was up to code. Nothing was up to code. So I am out there buying product, getting everything ready. I got furniture, I got product. I'm like, I'm ready to go for Holiday 2019, but the building was not. And the building was not ready until the last week of February 2020. So our grand opening was set for March 15th of 2020, and the whole planet shut down on the 13th. Not just our country, but the whole thing. Yeah. The people that send me the products, the people that send me the package, like everything ended temporarily. So we had to scratch the grand opening. I had 4 people on my email list at that point. Those people got a lot of emails. Hi, since you're at home. I mean, like other businesses that were already established, like killed it. I mean, like insane, not us. So I had a lot of bills because I'd invested all the money, and then we couldn't really open until the end of that summer. So I had a store full of holiday product, lots of gift sets, lots of leather, lots of really rich, heavy things that are not gonna sell in August in Atlanta. So I had to go back to the savings account and ask for a little more money to try to get in some products. So it was a long first year, but I guess looking back on it, it probably happened for the best because I was able to fail small. So I had a lot of failures that first trying to get open. The class presentation was 45 minutes of a 2-hour class. We talked about the history of perfume. I still have that presentation. If you ever want to, it might be boring for 90% of the people, but it goes all the way back to the start of fragrance, with the pharaohs in ancient Egypt. And it takes you through decade by decade until you get to current day. I loved that presentation, and I was giving that presentation until a really sweet young woman was sitting there and she went like this. And I was like, yeah, you have a question. And she goes, are we gonna make perfume? Is this gonna get fun at any point? And I was like, oh, oops, okay. So not everybody wants to go down the rabbit hole with all that. So instead of that grinding my business to a halt, it was a great moment for me to go, okay, we need to shift this. We need to answer the questions people have. And then if anybody ever wants the history of perfume, I've got that all teed up and ready to go. So those types of little things, we had brands in the store that were great for them, but they spoke nothing about niche perfumes, the art of perfumes. I mean, really our mission is to bring the art of this to people and teach them the real true art and beauty that you can have when you interact with and really learn these products. But we couldn't start there. The customers that finally started wandering in like Noah's Ark 2 at a time in hazmat suits with masks over their faces trying to smell perfume, like those people were not gonna go down with, Filippo Sorcinelli. Like it wasn't gonna happen. So we had some brands in that were a little not where the vision was going, but it's where we needed to start. And so we were able to kind of build on that. So there was a lot. I mean, trying to get media to come and talk to us, press releases. I had a great PR girl, and magazines would come to us and they'd go, so what's it like to open in a pandemic? And I was like, we also have a perfume store. It was just like, can anybody talk about anything but this? Like, help me out here. And then I would go back to them like 2 years later, 2022, and be like, hey, so, we've got this great experience in store and, could you feature us? And they're like, oh, we already featured you. I'm like, no, that was a story about the pandemic. Like, you didn't tell people about the classes and then the cool brands and all the things. And they were like, no, we don't care. So, all right.
Yeah, I loved how you talked about you were able to fail small.
Oh my God, so many things and there were so many things that like on paper should have worked. Totally should have worked. No, because when you put things out in front of large groups of people are not always gonna react to them the way you think they should or will. And so you have to actually put it out, like, this blending bar is a great example of that. Like, this is the 3rd or 4th iteration of this blending bar. So people that have been with us from the beginning are like, that looks different again. Like, yep. We just have to keep massaging it. We have to just keep, tuning it up and tweaking it. But if we would have waited until it was perfect, it would still be, in my computer somewhere. Right. We had to get it out there. And the best part about how this has been able to grow is I've got an idea. I think this walk-up blending bar thing could be good for people that just don't have the patience or the tolerance or the ability to book things ahead of time, which is what you need to do for the class. They can roll right up and make their own perfume. But I had to get it out there to see how they're going to interact with it. Some people pulled up a chair, thought they'd stay for 2 or 3 hours. I was like, no, that's not how this is supposed to work. This is supposed to be a dip your toe, quick 15 to 20 minute, like come in, see if this is for you kind of a thing. Or with younger, we have a lot of guests that want to bring like a young teen, preteen. They can't sit through a 2-hour class. There's no way. But they can make a body mist or a body wash or something, 15 to 20 minutes, mix a couple basic accords together that we've already curated. That could work. But, you know, not everybody interacts with things the way you think they're going to. So you do the thing, you get the feedback, you make the fixes, you throw it back out there. And I think any good business that's gonna survive, especially with as trendy as this industry is, you gotta keep trying things and then going back and tweaking and making adjustments. And that's my whole day, is tweaking things and making adjustments, because we always wanna be giving our guests the best experience. And to do that, we need to get less of what they don't like and more of what they do like, within reason.
Yeah. A little bit of a throwback question. Earlier you were saying the brands were saying that Atlanta wasn't sophisticated enough. Has Atlanta been good to Indie House?
I always knew they were sophisticated. I don't know what, I think those people, you know, it's New York and LA people. God bless them. There's, you know, but the South is not pickup trucks with, you know, Confederate flags hanging out the back. Like, there's a stereotype of what Atlanta is that Atlanta has not been in decades. 50 years. So yeah, no, we've got amazing clients who know a lot more than, you know, I do, that come in and they've taught me and made me more sophisticated. It's just a great community of people here. Especially now we've had an opportunity to meet and interact with a lot of folks over at the Goat Farm, which is an arts community. Oh my God, so much fun. So much fun. Like, cause it's that mindset of something that's new and fresh and different points of view and different takes on different things. So
very cool. What has been the most rewarding part of running Indie House?
Oh, rewarding of running Indie House? Or well, it's a business like any other. So you know, you get into business with a great idea and you think like, oh, this will be so great, and then there's the business part of it that you're like, I didn't really realize I was gonna have to do all this. You know, we do have to take out the trash and, you know, vacuum the floors and all the things, clean the toilets. But the most rewarding part is just the community that we've built, the people that come to the classes, the master classes, you know, you, getting to know you and having, you know, just seeing familiar faces coming back again and again, seeing people from the Alpharetta store pop, like I'll be in here working and somebody that I know from the Alpharetta store will pop in. I'm like, what are you doing here? They're like, it's a 25-minute drive. What do you mean, what am I doing here? I wanted to smell this or that or the other thing, and you don't have it in both places.
That's super cool. Talking a little bit more about the workshops and the scent experiences, can you describe the scent blending workshops versus the walk-up blending bar?
Excellent question. So the workshops are for people who like, it's like think of it like a wine tasting. Like you're going to kind of get information. So that's a really fun thing to do with a good friend. It's great for if you have guests from out of town, or I always tell, like, you know, if you've got adult kids that you need to do something with, or anybody that's looking for something to do, it's a great activity to do. And so we're not only going to give you kind of all of our insider information on the industry and perfumes and how to be a better wearer and consumer of the products, we also give you the opportunity to roll up your sleeves and try to make one yourself. And so, you know, we limit the amount of notes we let you play with, because really we want you to understand that, like, this is something that the masters spend their lives doing. You know, to be a master perfumer in Paris, I mean, I don't know anybody in the industry that's considered a master that's been doing this for under 25 or 30 years. It's not just being able to smell things, it's understanding how the chemicals live together and how they macerate together. And there's a lot of science behind putting together a legendary, really, really good perfume. It's not just, oh, that smells good, throw it in a bottle, we're done here. It's a lifetime of dedicating yourself to the art of it. So getting people to understand, and I always laugh and tell people, like, most people are familiar with the concept of those drinking and painting things. right? Like everybody's been to something like that, drinking a painting, whether it's a canvas or a piece of pottery or whatever it is. So you don't go to that experience and expect to walk out with a piece of art that you're then gonna hang over your fireplace. Like, that's not the purpose of going there. You're going to have fun. You're going to interact with your friends. You're going to do something different than just going out to dinner. Same thing with these classes. We want you to come and have fun and see what you create. It probably is going to be pretty good because it's just like when you go through a salad bar. You and I can go through the same salad bar. I'm going to put together a salad that I love with things that I love. You're going to put together a salad that you love, and we're both going to be happy at the end. It's kind of the same thing with the notes and making the perfumes in the class. The walk-in experience is a little bit more casual. It's kind of, especially because we're at Westside Provisions and we get a lot of like tourist traffic, people that are coming through that are entertaining themselves for the afternoon. Like they're not from here, they're here for a football game, they're here for a convention. This allows them to kind of smell through the curated notes, choose one or two, we'll let you do 3 if you're really nice to us, and then put it in a bottle and take it with you. So it does allow people to have a custom experience, but it's a lot more basic. These accords have all been blended to go together really easily. So this you can't really screw up. You can make something that's a little bit interesting in the classes. I mean, we definitely try to guide you, but at the end of the day, it's your perfume. If that's what you want to smell like, do your thing.
Love that.
But Josh, I know yours would be fantastic, so I'm not worried at all.
Can you share like a very memorable experience or feedback that you've received from a workshop participant?
Oh my God, my favorite. There was this guy, I don't know, a month or 2 ago, and he got all done with the whole process, and he just looked disturbed, concerned. And I was like, dude, everything good? You okay? And he was like, I'm not the man I thought I was. It was so funny. I mean, it was so funny. He had rose and jasmine and all the things that he didn't think men, would wear. And I was like, if it brings you joy and makes you feel good, there's nothing wrong with this. You did a great job. And he was like, I really, really like it. I was like, then put it on and really, really wear it. I mean, it just was so funny. The perception he had of himself of being this tough guy and, just the way he carried himself and everything else. And then he got done with this perfume and he was like, man, we've really uncovered something here. And I thought, that's so awesome. I loved seeing him start to get comfortable with the fact that there's more to him than what he wants people to see. And so that was fun. He comes back in every once in a while.
What trends are you currently seeing in the fragrance industry?
I don't know. I'm not a trend girl. That's not the sandbox I play in, quite honestly. I'm more interested in finding new quality brands that speak to, I'm looking for who's got a new point of view. That's what excites me, is seeing, and we've got a couple things coming down the line when I think about it. We've got a brand that we're doing a tango with right now to see if we're gonna bring them in the store. And they've got a really cool, different, interesting point of view. At the end of the day, a leather smells like a leather. A tuberose is gonna smell like a tuberose. There's not a lot of lipstick you can put on that pig. So it really becomes a lot more for me about the artist, what they're trying to communicate, what their point of view is, what they're bringing to the party. What are you bringing to the party? Why do you need to be in this space? I drive brands crazy because I don't wanna take your whole 25-piece collection. I wanna look at what I've already got. And then I want to pick out the ones that will add value to this environment and that will give my guests that thing that they are not getting from other brands or from other things. And that drives brands crazy because they want you to take it because they love it all. It's like children. You love all your children. I'm like, yes, but some of your children are going to go to college and some aren't. And that's just kind of how this game is going to need to be played. Because what a lot of people don't realize, and I think it's super important, this might not be on your questions list, but I'm going to answer it anyway, for all of my brethren in the independent retail world. What a lot of people don't realize is all of the products you see on the shelves were bought by me writing a check. So it's not in this store, it's not at Lucky Scent, it's not at my friends over at Ariel Shoshana. It's not, you don't get to have that product in that space if the person that owns that space didn't buy it. So I'm taking a gamble. Every time I bring a brand in this store, it means that they did something that I believe in. And I felt confident enough in their ability to contribute to this community that I wrote a check. So I own every single bottle in here. and I own it until you buy it. So what hurts us and drives us all crazy is when somebody comes in with their iPhone and starts taking pictures of bottles, and then they're gonna go think about it and then maybe buy it directly from the brand or from, you know, somewhere else. And it's like, well, that's great, but if you're gonna do that, you are limiting our ability to be here. So if you wanna come in and smell it, you kinda gotta like leave a little cash behind on your way out. Like, you know, fine, if you wanna go think about it, go think about it. But when you do decide to buy it, it just means so much to spend the money in your own community, wherever that is. If it's not here, you know, somewhere else, that's fine. If you smelled it there, buy it there. But we can't, you know, we own it until you buy it. So what I think I never understood until I got into this business is smelling something here and then buying it directly from the brand. It's great for the brand, but I still am sitting on that inventory until it moves. And so now when the brand has a new release, people are like, why don't you have the new release? I'm like, well, I'm still sitting on some of their other less movie stuff. So that's just kind of a little point that I'll throw into the conversation, even though I'm probably not going to be asked that. It just really, if you want your local, whatever it is, and that's true of any small business. So if it's a shoe store, or if it's a, you know, if you're into cigars or you're into wine or whatever it is, if you go into a small boutique setting and you have a new experience and you love the product, buy it there. Don't go try to find it $5 cheaper somewhere else, because those people bought the products and gave you the experience to be able to discover it. You need to reward that so that you can have another one. Because if you never do, the next time you come to the store, the door might be locked because we might be out of business because nobody bought it. So that's the struggle with brick and mortar small retail and the internet. Because people can, I mean, you could buy most of these things directly from the brand. That wasn't a thing 5 or 10 or 15 years ago. So for us, we really try to build an amazing experience so that when you come in, you're like, oh my God, this is cool. I have all these choices. I'm gonna smell all the things. I like this one, I like that one. I'm gonna think about it. But you know, go to our website or come back to us. That helps us. Or wherever it was you had that experience.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Shop local.
I will get off my soapbox now. But you know, truly, you know, that's how this whole thing works. And I guess I personally didn't understand how important it was until I got into the business, and most people aren't in the business. So I feel like it's a little insider insight that.
Yeah, it's a great piece of advice.
Yeah.
Where do you see the future of niche perfumery and of Indie House?
Wow, future of niche perfumery, I don't think it's slowing down anytime soon. And I love it because it's finally an industry, and this was when I first started, like one of the things that just drives me nuts, and it's about to start happening again, is the holiday ads for perfume. A-list model in an outfit with all the hair and makeup and glam, sprays on the perfume and is magical. Like, I'm never gonna look like that. You're never gonna look like that. I don't care how much of it we spray on. That's not our lives. And I just always hated that there was one stereotype, there was one voice, there was one, every woman had to look like Julia Roberts and be sexy. Like that was the only purpose. If you were to watch TV, that's the only purpose for buying a perfume, was to be sexy like her. She's a gorgeous woman, but she's also a really smart businesswoman. And they don't show that side of Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts is a boss. But you don't get to see that from her. You only get to see the sexy piece because that's what they're advertising. And that always just bugged me, and it still bugs me. I am a businesswoman. I am an artist who makes perfume. I am a mom who has 3 kids. I'm a wife who has a husband. You know, there's all kinds of different, I'm a daughter. There's so many different roles that I play, and there's so many different sides to me that I'm not just a sexy perfume. I'm also a powerful, woody, strong perfume, because I'm gonna have to go have a really difficult conversation, you know, with a banker next week. And so I'm not putting on my sexy perfume to go have that conversation. It wouldn't land. It wouldn't make that guy feel comfortable, and it wouldn't make me feel confident. So, I don't know. What was the question?
I love that. I think we found the trailer, was that little piece. Where do you see the future of niche perfumery and of Indie House?
Right. Going back to the original question, it's finally, I think it's one of the few industries that is able to do the quick turn and invite everybody in. everybody has a seat at the table. Everybody has a voice in the conversation. That's what I love about it. And I laugh with people all the time. We have a lot of companies that want to come and do team building, and they're like, I don't know, is it okay for guys? I'm like, do guys like to smell good? Yeah, it's okay for guys. I mean, like, it's okay for anybody. And we've never seen we've had over 8,000 guests come through our classes. A fight over politics never broke out over the perfume table, like ever. People don't argue about religion. They don't talk about political candidates. Like, those topics of conversation are not appropriate for, ooh, this smells interesting. Do you like this smell? Like, you get people opening up and interacting with each other in such a healthy community way. Like, you don't have to be a certain dress size. You don't have to be a certain age. You can be any age. You can be any ethnic background. You can be any religion. You can have any political view. You can shop in the big and tall shop. You could shop in the petite section. It welcomes everyone. It's such a great, and that's one of the things I love the most about it, is it's just so inclusive in such a basic way. I mean, do you like the smell of this or do you not? A lot of times conversations, my favorite classes are the ones where people come 1 and 2 at a time. And then you've got 12 to 20 individuals who are, a little bit like, everyone's polite. Hello, nice to meet you. Oh, hi, and then by the end they're like, smell me, smell me. They're getting their body parts up in people's faces and like, what did you think about this? And like, oh, that's got a lot of patchouli. I had a 3rd grade teacher. Oh God, she was so mean. She smelled like patchouli and she scared me. Like, you get people sharing experiences and telling stories that helps them to know each other better over the perfume table. And that's why I love the classes so much. That's why I love it for team building. I love it for building community. I love everything about it. It started off with a mission of, let's just make people smarter perfume shoppers, and it really kind of has taken on a life of its own that I love.
Very cool. And what advice would you give to someone looking to start their journey in the world of niche perfume?
I would say, please don't come in here and think you're going to launch a brand. To start your journey, I mean, you just got to try stuff. And I think the people that don't have the best experience are the ones that come in and say, I don't wear florals, or I don't wear this, or I don't. Come in and try it. We've got, in Alpharetta, we've got discovery tables where everything is grouped by what it smells. In this location, we've got shelves where we've put a lot of the florals together. We've put a lot of the vanillas and sweet things together. We've kind of grouped things that are a little more powerful, woody, smoky. Let yourself wander through them. You'd be really surprised at how many different things appeal to you, because again, you're not one mood. You're different moods based on different days. One of my, it's like when you go to the grocery store on Sunday. Sunday, you're like going to the grocery store and you go down the aisles and you're like, ooh, we need kale and we need vegetables, and I should get some kombucha, and oh, there's a new health thing, I should get that. So on Sunday, you're like healthy adult. And then by Tuesday, you're like, my job sucks, my kids suck, my dog is driving me crazy, like, I just want a pizza. Tuesday you is got in a much different mood than Sunday you, and you whip open the fridge and go, who bought all this healthy crap? I just want a pizza. So, fragrance is just like that. Your mood is gonna change. You're gonna want different things on different days. You're gonna be in different moods. On certain days, certain fragrances are gonna make you feel good about yourself, and on other days, you might need something a little bit different. So you're a human with complex emotions. Please don't just have one perfume. It's not gonna work.
Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Sure.
Can you let everyone know where to find you, both in-store and online?
You gotta really hunt to find me in store, as you know. I jump back and forth between our Alpharetta. We have an Alpharetta location, and that is right in downtown Alpharetta, behind a pig restaurant next to a dumpster. It's a great little store. We do the classes there and the retail. In town, we're in West Midtown. So we're off Howell Mill Road in the Westside Provision Shopping Center. Big gold awning that says Indie House. You'll walk right by it, everyone does. And then when you see it, you'll go, oh, right, that really shouldn't have been hard. This is where our retail is. This is where we bring in all the new and emerging and exciting brands. And we've just opened the studio over at the Goat Farm, which is 1 block west over there, 500 square feet. We can seat up to 25 guests, and that's where the classes are. You can come with your friends, bring a bottle of something to sip on, have a fun 2 hours, and then it's walking distance, so you can walk back over here and see what we've got in store.
Excellent. And website, Instagram, TikTok, right?
Yes. Website is INDIEHOUSEFragrances.com. Instagram is the same thing. We're just Indie House Fragrances. Just keep typing in Indie House Fragrances, and you'll find us. And if you want to have a conversation with me, it's just Carrie at Indie House Fragrances. We're easy. And I'd love to hear from you.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Goth Fragrance Dialogues. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of fragrance and the incredible stories behind the scents that we explore. As always, if you want to learn more, be sure to check out the links in the description for more details and ways to connect with our guests. And don't forget to support their work. It's all about celebrating creativity and passion. If you're loving this content, regardless of what platform, please subscribe, that way you never miss out on a new episode. We've got more exciting stories, insights, and interviews coming your way. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Josh, your Goth Fragrance Bestie. Keep exploring the world of scent, stay inspired, and we'll catch you next episode.